Have you ever wondered if the food on the XPT trains from Sydney is edible? Is it worth buying food on the train or just bringing all your food with you? Stay tuned to see what I think of a whole lot of meals on the XPT Sydney to Melbourne trains. And I'll also rate the meals that I've had and let you know which is the best. So I regularly travel between Sydney and Melbourne on the XPT trains. If you're planning a longer trip around New South Wales, or you regularly travel, say, from Sydney to Melbourne, then do look at getting the Discovery Pass. I've got a 6-month first class Discovery Pass, which means I can travel as many times as I want in that 6 months. I will link the information about that down below. So do consider that if you're doing a lot of traveling from Sydney and within New South Wales and down to Melbourne or Brisbane. So you can bring your own food onto the train, or there is a buffet car. So let's have a look at whether I think it's worth bringing your food or whether the food is actually edible that you can buy. So the buffet car is located in carriage C, so that's somewhere in the middle of the train between first and second class. There's also accessible toilets in this area. So there are a number of items that are available all day, including sandwiches and pies, sausage rolls, cakes, drinks, hot drinks, cold drinks. So they're all available the whole time that you're on board, except if you go over a border. So like from Sydney to Melbourne, the buffet is closed for about an hour, 50 minutes between Wangaratta and Albury because they change staff when they move between Victoria and New South Wales. It's another one of those strange Australian things where, each state's got to have its own difference. So yeah, so other than those times, there is food available the whole time, and it closes about 45 minutes an hour before you reach your destination. The all-day options include sandwiches, pies, sausage rolls, scones with jam and cream, fruit salad, crisps, chocolate bars, cakes and muffins. There's also a ham and cheese toasted sandwich that I've heard mentioned that only seems to be available on some of the journeys. Some journeys also have an all-day breakfast, and there was a vegan and a non-vegan version of this. The vegan version had mushroom, spinach, 3-bean mix and scrambled egg. And the non-vegetarian version had chicken sausage, chorizo, mushroom, spinach, 3-bean mix, and scrambled egg. This was selling for $13.50, including a bread roll. There are also some combo meal deals, so do look out for these if you're wanting a drink. So they included things like a cake and a hot beverage, Devonshire tea, which is the scone with jam and cream and a hot beverage, sandwich with a soft drink or water, hot meal with a soft drink or water, and cheese and crackers with wine. So if you're considering a drink, do look at those and ask when you purchase if you can get one of those combo meals. So, and if you order a meal or a hot drink, you get given a cardboard tray. You keep this for the whole journey. You take it back every other time you're going to get a hot drink or a hot meal, and that saves throwing away lots of cardboard. So do make sure you keep it and take it back with you each time. So as well as the food that's available all day, they do hot meals. So these are like usually for lunch and dinner, and there's usually 4 meal options. So they make an announcement what options there are, and that's about an hour before they're ready. So then the guard comes around and you choose what you want. You're given a little ticket, and then when the food is ready, another announcement happens. You go to the buffet car, hand them over your ticket, pay for your food, and you get your meal. So I'm going to be looking at some of the options that I've been offered when I've been on the trains. So I've been offered the sweet vegetable and chickpea stew. So this is the vegetarian option. It's been on every trip I've been on. So I think that's the vegetarian option. It's also gluten-free and halal. The spaghetti bolognese, this has also been on all the trips. This is a smaller sized meal and it's slightly cheaper at $9.90. It's also classed as the children's meal. It's beef, so it's not vegetarian friendly. Then I've had roast beef and vegetables, which is gluten-free, chicken basquiola pasta, and bangers and mash. So, reviewing some of the meals I've had, I'm going to give them a score. And the score is taking into consideration that they are a ready meal. Like if it was like a proper cooked meal, then probably they would be scored about 4 points lower. But considering a ready meal, comparing them to like a ready meal that you get like at the supermarket. So roast beef and vegetables, I'd give this an 8. It was quite edible and similar to other roast beef ready meals. It included pumpkin, which was really nice, and peas and potatoes and gravy. The meat portion was generous and overall it was tasty. It was a little watery where the peas are defrosted, and this meal is gluten-free. The chicken basquiola pasta, I'd give this an 8. It was nice. It was a little salty for me, but Pasta really works well as a ready meal, had good sized pieces of chicken and ham, plenty of creamy sauce, and the pasta was well cooked. The spaghetti bolognese, I'd give this a 7 to a 9. And my reasoning for this is I've had it a number of times and it's a good sized portion, especially as it's cheaper than the other meals. The pasta cooks well as a ready meal. However, a couple of times this has been overcooked. So there's been hard bits of spaghetti in there. So that's the reason for the different ratings. It could have a little bit more flavour for me, but I put some pepper on it. And I guess as it's like the kids' option, that's probably why it's a little bit bland. Bangers and mash, I'd give this a 7. So it was a typical frozen sausage and mash meal. It was okay. I just don't really love sausages cooked in the microwave or, in this case, in one of those multi-meal cooker things. I don't know. I think it's just that they look kind of bland, and I don't know if it's psychological, and that's why I think they don't taste so great. But I don't know. Maybe it's texture. Not sure, but yeah, it was okay. It came with carrots and peas as well as mash and gravy. There's quite a lot of water where the vegetables were, and the mash was just like okay. So I didn't really love this one. I'd eat it again if I had to, but I wouldn't rush out to buy it. The sweet vegetable and chickpea stew with rice. So I'd give that a 6 to an 8. And the reasons for that is it was really tasty. I definitely want to try it again. But unfortunately, the one I had, the rice was a bit hard and it could have been warmer. So I'd only give it a 6. But I think if it was cooked better and the rice was all edible, it would be an 8 or a 9. So it was a really nice, flavorful stew of like mixed veg, including spinach and chickpeas. It was gluten-free, vegetarian and halal. So it's the only option for a hot meal for a lot of people. If you've had this meal, do let me know in the comments below what you thought of it and if it was cooked properly, because I really would like to try it again, and I'd like to know if other people have had it and it's been cooked fine. I'm also going to give a mention to the scones with jam and cream. So this was only $5.50. You got 2 big buttermilk scones, 4 little things of strawberry jam, and also a big cup of cream. So whilst not a hot meal, the scones were warm and it would be perfect for breakfast or lunch. Like, it was really filling, really good meal and really good value. So I really highly recommend those. So what is my overall opinion of the XPT Enjoy by Gate Gourmet food? I think it's pretty good. Like, I'm not really expecting a lot. They are just general ready meals, but they were perfectly fine. I think being priced at $13.50, which includes like a bread roll and butter. I know one meal I've had, I just left that for a later snack. So they're quite filling, and I think that's pretty good price considering you're stuck on the train for the whole day. Personally, I often will bring some breakfast on, some fruit, maybe like a pancake or something like that, but I don't want to be carrying around food all day. So I think, for the convenience, the pricing and the food is perfectly reasonable. There's also the cheaper all day food. So the pie is $7. I think it's $6.80 for a sausage roll. So, they're good price, edible, fine. The sandwiches were good. They're from $5.50 upwards. So they're a good option if you like a sandwich. I like to get the hot meals. I don't know. I just feel it breaks up the journey. That, breaks up the monotony just a little bit by, having something to do, order your food, go get your food. So I tend to get the meals, but I have tried the other things on occasion. What was my favorite meal? My favorite meal would be the chicken boschiala. I definitely have that one again. It was a little bit salty, but other than that, it was really tasty and I really enjoyed that one. So I think the same as when you buy them yourself. I think pasta, curries, things like that go usually quite well as a frozen meal when you reheat it, and things like, with potatoes and stuff don't go quite as well. But that's just my opinion. So, everybody's tastes different. So let me know if you've had anything and what you think of it. So in general, train travel in Australia is a little bit behind the rest of the world. So our trains are pretty slow. So you are stuck on there. So Sydney to Melbourne is an 11 to 12 hour trip, and Sydney to Brisbane is 14 hours. So they are quite long train trips. A lot of people regionally, they have to use those to get to the other big towns or into the main cities. So you will get a lot of people who just sort of pop on and off for a couple of stops or 3 or 4 stops. So the stops are half an hour to an hour apart anyway, because, we've got a lot of land and not a lot in a lot of the land. But yes, so I recommend the food. The staff are really friendly on the trains, and I think the food is fine. I wish the trains were quicker, but that's a totally different story. So If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I do a lot of travel videos around Australia and overseas. I've got a few big overseas trips coming up. I'm off on a Trans-Pacific cruise to Alaska and Japan, and I'm going to China a bit later, Europe after that. So do subscribe so that you can see when my videos come out, and please like, it really does help my channel grow. Thanks a lot and see you next time.